A DOT audit gets a lot less scary once you realize inspectors usually want proof of one simple thing. Your drug and alcohol testing program is real, active, and documented well enough to verify fast. Start with a current roster of every commercial driver's license, or CDL, driver who does safety-sensitive work, including when each driver became active, when they came off the list, and whether they're in the random pool. Then make sure that roster matches your testing files, your clearinghouse records, and your annual reports, because inspectors will notice fast if those three don't point to the same driver list. For every random pick, keep the dated selection list, the date it was made, the test type, your notification record, and whether that driver actually completed the test. And if a selected driver wasn't available, save the reason they were unavailable and the exact steps you took to handle that missed selection. Completed custody and control forms, including electronic CCFs, are what tie the collection event to the lab and then all the way to the final result. When signatures are missing, dates don't match, reasons are left blank, or a form takes too long to pull up, you've handed an auditor a question that never needed to exist. Your medical review officer, or MRO, verifies every non-negative result, and an auditor may ask for the reports connected to positives, refusals, adulterated or substituted specimens, substance abuse professional activity, return to duty, and follow-up testing. Those files contain confidential medical information, so they need to be protected, stored carefully, and shared only with the people who are allowed to see them. Keep clear documentation for your designated employer representative, or DER, and for any supervisor who makes reasonable suspicion decisions. For supervisor training, inspectors usually expect at least 60 minutes on alcohol misuse and 60 minutes on controlled substance use, plus the certificates, training dates, provider details, agendas, and attendance records to back it up. Your Management Information System report is the year-end summary of the whole program, covering pre-employment, random, post-accident, reasonable suspicion, return to duty, and follow-up tests from the prior calendar year. Those totals need to match the testing records underneath them, because if the report says one thing and your files say another, an inspector will treat that gap like a reliability problem. Before a prospective CDL driver does any safety-sensitive work, you need a full pre-employment clearinghouse query. Then, for every CDL driver you employ, you need that annual query on file too. Just as important, keep proof the query was completed, along with general consent for limited queries and the date and purpose tied to each one. Inspectors may ask to see your company drug and alcohol policy, and they may also want proof that every COVID employee actually received it. That policy should spell out prohibited conduct, when testing happens, what drivers must do, what happens if they violate the rules, when they're removed from safety-sensitive work, how return to duty works, and how they can get help through the DER. Before a new CDL driver starts safety-sensitive work, keep proof that you completed the required prior employer drug and alcohol history checks, not just that you meant to do them. Those inquiries, responses, dates, contact details, and any follow-up notes should line up cleanly with the driver's hire timeline and the pre-employment test records, so the file tells one consistent story. For post-accident, reasonable suspicion, return to duty, and follow-up tests, keep one complete file with the reason for the test, the date and time, the required documentation, the test order, the CCF or electronic CCF, the result, and any related communications. And for a post-accident case, if the test wasn't completed, document exactly why it did or didn't happen, so the file answers that question before an inspector has to ask it. This is where inspectors start cross-checking. They line up your active roster with the random pool, the random selections, the test results, the clearinghouse queries, and the MIS totals to see whether the same drivers appear consistently all the way through. What trips fleets up is usually the mismatch itself: a missing date, a duplicate driver, a missed test with no explanation, an inactive driver still sitting in the pool, or a result that has no matching custody and control form or electronic CCF makes the file look unreliable fast. Before the inspector shows up, confirm your designated employer representative, or DER, contact details, and your backup contact so the right person can answer questions immediately. If a consortium or third-party administrator, or C or TPA, manages your records, make sure you can get into that portal fast and pull what you need without hunting for logins or waiting on a callback. A qualified consortium or third-party administrator can keep your testing records, clearinghouse activity, random selections, electronic custody and control forms, and reporting together in one place, so you are not piecing an audit file together from 5 different systems. Labworks USA supports that setup with consortium random testing, a nationwide collection network, MIS reporting, clearinghouse management, and help with return to duty and follow-up steps when a case gets more complicated. The easiest way to stay ready is to keep your DOT and Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration compliance records in one place, so when an inspector asks, you can pull the paperwork fast. If you want help with testing, clearinghouse management, and audit prep, visit labworksusa.com. A .audit gets much easier when your records tell the same story from driver onboarding to random testing, clearinghouse reporting, and ongoing monitoring with no breaks in the chain. And that story changes all year. Drivers come and go, policies get revised, query calendars move, and testing records keep growing, so audit prep has to stay current. Think of it as one 10-part file: your roster, random testing proof, custody and control forms or electronic CCFs, MRO reports, training records, MIS reports, clearinghouse queries, your policy, prior employer checks, and any special testing files. When those records line up cleanly, inspectors see the organized proof they came for, instead of gaps they have to chase. If you need the current federal rules, go straight to the US Department of Transportation Office of Drug and Alcohol Policy and Compliance. And when you need day-to-day help keeping records straight and testing on track, a compliance partner like Labworks USA can make that work a lot easier. If this raised questions about audit prep, testing records, or DOT and Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration compliance, Labworks USA can help. For anything we didn't cover here, visit labworksusa.com.